Well, he's the young man out of Meridian, Idaho, and he travels a great amount of distance wherever he races. Last year picked up a big win in Great Falls, Montana. He's here to talk about all of 2022, what's happened in 2023. It's Tyler Driever next on Getting Up to Speed. This broadcast is brought to you by Meat Freaks Jerky Club. Get the best jerky the world has to offer straight to your door by visiting meatfreaksjerkyclub.com. Pick your box and plan, tell them where to ship, and receive and enjoy. Log on to meatfreaksjerky.com and use promo code SPEED for 10% discount. Hello race fans, this is Ben Deatherage, host of Getting Up to Speed. In these interviews, we talk to sprint car drivers from the West Coast or beyond the West Coast that are coming to race, or drivers that are West Coast based that are going elsewhere to race. We hope you enjoy these interviews, and be sure and catch up on all the episodes, whether it be on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, or YouTube. Well, our first guest representing the state of Idaho, he comes to us from the city of Meridian. That is Tyler Driever. Tyler, great to have you.
Yeah, man, great to be here. Great to talk racing. It's been a little bit.
I know. Well, and it's just, how has the winter been over there? Has it been wild and crazy as everywhere else with all the snow and all the rain?
Yeah, I feel like the winter hit about 2 weeks ago here anyways. We kind of had an early winter, then we had a dry period, and now it's like really hitting us. And now it's like, can't make up its mind if it wants to be spring or if it wants to be winter. It seems like every other day we're getting snow, and it's like 50 degrees out and it's snow. So it's been crazy.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Well, we'll talk about your 2022 season. You ran 16 races, made 16 features. 12 of those were top 10s, 8 top 5s, 3 podiums, and a win on September 3rd with the American Sprint Car Series Frontier Region at Electric City Speedway in Great Falls, Montana. How would you rate things, how everything went last year?
It was all right. Definitely was hoping to kind of venture a little bit outside of Montana, but we really didn't get the opportunity to last year, just between sponsors and stuff. We were just pretty much stuck over in Montana. But I mean, overall, I'd say it was a good season. Hoping for maybe a couple more wins, but sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles, and seat time is seat time. It was still a great, fun experience. So, learning.
And you had a really good run with the Frontier Region in 21. I think finished second in points, and kind of a down to the wire point battle with Logan Forler, who ironically enough is from the Boise area as well. And that seems to be a series that you've done really well in the last couple of years.
Oh yeah, it's a fun series. I mean, I feel like the tracks are pretty predictable, especially if you're running there for points. I feel like you kind of know, all right, this is what the track's going to do. It's most likely going to be dead slick, or it's going to be rubber down. So Sounds goofy, but set the car up for rubber and you'll be fast.
Yeah. And last year you ended up 6th in points, but talking to you before we went on air, you really weren't really concentrating on anything, especially, halfway through the season. You guys were just kind of running wherever you guys wanted to.
Yep. I mean, things definitely didn't go the way we were hoping early on in the season. Just kind of had some bad luck. So about halfway through, we're like, we'll just go out and have fun, just get some seat time in, experience. I mean, seat time is seat time, no matter where you're running. So it's kind of where we went about halfway through the season.
Yeah, you guys, I think, made a couple trips to Cottage Grove last year.
Yep. Cottage is always a fun track to go make a few appearances at. It's one of my favorite ones. It's always a good time over there. Heather does a great job.
Well, what's the plan for you guys for 2023? Similar to last year, just kind of bouncing around, or are you guys going to stick to one location? What's in the cards?
As of right now, we don't have the craziest plan. We're really short on sponsorships and stuff. So I think right now we only have about 7 to 8 races planned, and they are all in Oregon. Couple at the new track in Roseburg, or 1 or 2 at the new track in Roseburg. Let me look real quick. And I know a couple in Cottage Grove. And then Speed Week, July 22nd through the 29th. But yeah, that's as far as I'm aware, that's what we've got planned out right now. And we'll just see how the season goes. If we pick up some sponsors, we might end up over in California, maybe up in Skagit. all just depends on sponsorships.
Well, I was going to say, hopefully somebody's listening and may want to help contribute a little bit to have you make, some more races this year.
Definitely. That'd be awesome.
No doubt. No doubt. And you say going to California and going to Skagit, I assume still running 360 stuff, or if the opportunity present itself, would you be interested in running some 410 races?
I think that's where we definitely, in the future, wanted to head, those 410 stuff. If the opportunity presents itself, we'll definitely run some 410 stuff. If we got some funding I think that's what we would do if we got funding, is buy a 410 motor and kind of end up running just a couple 410 races instead of running 8 or 9 shows in 360s. Say, screw it, let's go run 6 shows in the 410, just because it's a different experience, and maybe something else a different opportunity will arise in the 410. So
yeah. Well, and for folks that don't know something about Tyler, is that he lives in Meridian, Idaho. We mentioned it at the top of the show, and Meridian is just west of Boise, and it is a home of one of my favorite pavement racetracks of all time, Meridian Speedway. However, for Tyler to race dirt track racing, he's got to make, you'll admit this, you got to drive very far away. I mean, the closest racetrack for you is what?
I think it's either Grove or one in Montana. They're both 7 hours away. I don't know the mic, but I know they're 7 hours away, both of them. So definitely not very close.
And that's kind of in a passenger car, 7 hours away too. I mean,
Yeah. Definitely not the most ideal conditions for a dirt track racer, but we make it work. You know.
Well, I've been on that drive because I think one of the first times I actually met you guys was probably the Topher Classic at OMC, Hawaii Motorcycle Club, in the Boise area, that they used to have that big race. And so I did that drive a few times, went to Meridian once for Diamond Cup. That was a fun journey. And, I-84 is a great, got the Columbia Gorge, La Grande, and Pendleton, wonderful areas, but it's a long trip.
Definitely. Especially when you've done it. I guess once you've done it a few times, it's not that bad. I should say it's kind of the opposite. It's not too bad once you've done it a few times. So
yeah, there's that stretch there, like Arlington to probably the Dalles or Hood River Valley. I think the Dalles is somewhere about there. It's a grind. You got Biggs Junction there that kind of breaks it up, where 97 crosses into Washington, but especially at nighttime, it can be a real big grind.
Definitely. I'm either trying to keep my dad awake or I'm asleep in the back. So
Sure. So when you guys go to Montana, I assume you kind of keep going on 84 East, and then 15?
Give me 1 second. Let's see. So we take I-84, and then shoot. If I had maps loading quicker, I could tell you exactly the way we go. We kind of go up by Island Park. I don't know, kind of through the West Yellowstone area, kind of where we end up. So we go up through there. Really pretty drive, actually. That's actually not a bad drive. The roads can be, last year when Montana had all that flooding, we barely missed when the roads all got washed out and closed and stuff. But no, that drive's definitely a really pretty drive. You see some cool stuff through there, and actually some good fishing as well on the way. That's always fun to do.
Well, and it's probably better to do it in the day than at nighttime. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I don't think we've done it at night, but I'm assuming the wildlife through there is probably not the most ideal for night driving.
Well, I say that because I actually hit an animal, and I was not in the park, for all those wondering. And if the National Park Service is still wondering if I hit a deer in Yellowstone Park, no, I was West Yellowstone. I was, I think a little bit south of Big Sky, I think. And that thing was a monster, and I only clipped it, and it decommissioned my vehicle eventually after I kept going for, I don't know how many more miles, 250 more miles. So, but I was told that what happens is they come, at nighttime, less traffic, obviously. They come and there's the river there, and they partake in their drinking and whatever else they do. When, the humans aren't about cruising on the road. It was like a little 2-lane highway road that was supposed to save me a couple hours. So short way is not always the best way.
Nope. Nope. Especially not through mountain like passes. Sometimes they can get sketchy, especially at night.
Well, and here's the crazy thing. That happened in June of 2017. And there was a sign, I remember a few hours before, my wife Stephanie told me, like, hey, be careful. And obviously I was doing the best I could. That there had been like 24 bison hit on that thing. And I'm glad that I dealt with a black-tailed deer and not a bison, because I probably wouldn't be here if I hit a bison. Because the road, even the nighttime speed was like 70 miles an hour. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, bison versus a car, that speed kit definitely could be deadly.
Yeah, no doubt. And what happened is I clipped it with my right front, and it moved the radiator just a little bit, that it cracked like the material that the radiator pipe is made out of. It cracked it just slightly. And so it started to get hot. Well, it just kept expanding and expanding, and I'd stop and put water in it and just limping it, hoping to make it to Billings and then just get a fix, because I had to announce the next day. It did, spoiler alert, I didn't make it to Billings. I made it to Laurel, I think. But that was one for the books. Last time, not the last time I've been to Montana, but the last time I've been to Billings. So.
Yeah, that does not sound like doesn't sound like the greatest experience for sure.
Yeah. And I love the racetracks out there, and especially the one at Gallatin Speedway in Belgrade. They got the Gallatin Mountains in the background.
Oh, yeah.
Three Forks. Yellowstone is right there.
That's definitely one of the prettiest racetracks I've been to. Aside the one in North Carolina, the go-kart track, Millbridge, that one's pretty cool too. It's kind of back in the trees, but this one over, the Belgrade one, just outside Bozeman, that's really pretty.
Yeah. Oh, it's terrific, and it's not too far off of the interstate there, so it's really easy to get to. Where some of the other ones, you kind of got to go off the beaten path a little bit, not too much, but that one is definitely great. And I know that they've had some issues with the local populace, but it's great to see that they're able to keep going and keep that facility going.
Oh, yeah. It's awesome, man. Especially, it is really close to in town, though. Like, the racetrack is not far from town. I could definitely see them having issues there. Yeah, definitely pretty track. Definitely a fun track, too.
So, and there was once upon a time a rumor that Western Idaho is going to get a racetrack. There's tracks in Eastern, like Atomic Motor Speedway, Salmon Valley. There's a racetrack there. Idaho Falls has a racetrack. They don't really run sprint cars there, and I think the only one that has is Atomic, but there was supposed to be one on the west side of the state. Have you heard any more info of what's happening there?
Yep. I feel like they kind of took a step backwards, and it's going to be an asphalt track now.
Ah, okay. Blue Valor Speedway is what it was supposed to be called, right?
Yep, I think it is still going to go by the name Blue Valor. It looks like a really nice facility, but they're going to make it an asphalt track. I don't know why or what happened, but looks like a real nice place, though.
Yeah, no doubt. And then speaking of asphalt tracks, Meridian Speedway there, on your times off when you're not racing, do you journey over there and watch some racing at that place, or what do you do?
Oh, yeah. Every once in a while, I'll go over to Meridian. I used to race legend cars here locally at Meridian Speedway before we got the sprint cars. So I know quite a few people out there, and got some friends out there. I'll go out there and visit, say hi, or sometimes I'll even see, what's his name? 33 car out of Oregon. I think he's out of Roseburg. Kyle Alberding. I'll go out there. Yeah, I'll go out there and watch them race like Diamond Cup or King of the Wing and stuff. And that's always a good time. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've always said, like, Western Idaho needs a racetrack because back in the Northern Sprint Tour days, you had Sean Smith, Michael Harris at the time was living out there, Randy Pierce.
Yeah, Randy Pierce was for him.
Yeah, and it just seemed like, man, these guys got to travel so far just to run here, and it would would just do him so much justice to have something local where they could run every now and then travel around still.
Yeah, no, 100%. It is a bummer. It makes our costs for racing just almost unbearable, but we're trying to make it work, and we're hoping that maybe one day we'll get a dirt track here.
Yeah, I was thinking there was one other guy that used to Brandon Johnson. He ran a lot with the World of Outlaws in the springtime there for a couple of years, and I think
Brandon Johnson, Caleb Johnson, his son, we ran outlaw carts with, and he drove a micro for a while. I tested his micro. Brandon Johnson, he's a good guy. He used to set up dirt cars and race on he used to set up dirt cars for asphalt and race at Meridian Speedway. He'd whoop on the locals apparently. So
yeah, I remember that. I remember Caleb sometimes because I remember obviously his dad had a very distinct, like a neon green top wing and a black body, and Caleb with a K, right?
Yep, correct.
Okay, yeah. It's all coming back to me. There was another guy. His last name was Adams. He did one speed week one time, and he just
Chris Adams.
Yes, Chris Adams. He wrecked his car really bad at Medford, I think, for a speed week opener, and then they were able to patch it together, or maybe it was a Memorial Day weekend triple header. So back in the old Northern Sprint Tour days, but I thought I saw him racing not that long ago. But
so they had bought a car, and then they were at the Cottage Grove, and I don't remember what happened, but the car I think pretty much got destroyed. I don't know what happened exactly. I don't remember. I know the car got wrecked though, and I think he sold off. It was Logan Foiler's old car that he had bought. Real nice piece. But yeah, I know they got rid of it, and I think he moved now, and he's working with another sprint team. I'm not sure exactly who. He's helping out as a crew. I don't know if he's crew chief or just part of the crew, but apparently he's traveling around with the sprint team right now. I don't know exactly where or who or what series, but he's helping someone out.
Well, I remember way back in the way, like about 20 years ago, way back in the day, what I'm trying to say, it was like just a random cameo. I think Colby Solomon was living in Idaho at the time of CS9 chassis fame, and he just showed up. It was one of the only times I think he ever showed up.
Huh. So. Yeah, I know Solomon's, that's funny that you mentioned them. Colby Solomon's, I think his dad, forget his name. He lives here though. He's local. He works at a fab shop.
Okay.
Over in Nampa. He's actually the guy who got us hooked up with Randy Pierce. Randy Pierce is the guy we ran like a couple races with him, and then that's kind of how our sprint car journey got started. So it's a small world. Kind of weird how everything just kind of everyone knows everyone. Or
sure.
Funny.
Sure. Yeah. No doubt. It is a small world. Oh, and of course, how could I forget Smokin' Joe Ramaker? He was a major accomplished racer, originally from Choteau, Montana, but then moved to Boise a while back. You mentioned occasionally you'll go to Meridian Speedway on your off weekends, but when you're not dealing with race cars or racing, what do you find yourself doing on your off time?
Well, I've got a lot of stuff I like to do. In the fall, kind of September, fall time, I'll go hunting with me and my buddies. We went deer hunting and elk hunting actually this past, or I guess not deer hunting, we just went elk hunting up by Idaho City. I'm a big skier. I've been skiing for 5 seasons now, and then I snowboarded 4 seasons prior to that, so really enjoyed that. I like fishing. I bass fish. I fly fish. Idaho's got some pretty crazy fishing here anyways. I like cars. I like street cars. I like working on cars. I've got some buddies I'm helping my buddy right now actually build a turbo Honda S2000. It's going to make like 600 horsepower. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
So I like street car stuff. Yeah, pretty much anything outdoors and car related. I'm a fan of kind of what I do on my off time.
Well, I am unseasoned when it comes to snowboarding and skiing. Which is easier to learn, in your opinion?
So it's hard to say because I got snowboarding lessons when I was probably like 9 or 10, and I didn't really pick up on snowboarding until I started skiing with or going out with some of my buddies who were like better than me, and they started pushing me. But I feel like snowboarding's easier to learn. At least I've taught it to people, and they seem to pick up on it pretty quick compared to skiing, where I've tried to teach people how to ski and they just couldn't pick up on it. I feel like snowboarding's easier to learn. Skiing is harder to learn, but I feel like it's easier to master.
Okay.
At least get rid of that. So
sure,
that's just my opinion.
Nice. Well, as far as if people want to contribute to your race team and get you guys racing a little bit more this year and become a sponsor, or look at your upcoming schedule or any team news, what's the best outlet that folks can log on to or look at for that to make possible?
I would just go check out our Facebook page. That is probably the best way to contact us. Either our Facebook page or my Instagram. Our Facebook page is just Tyler Driever Racing. And then Driever is spelled Driever, for those of you who don't know.
Yeah.
And then my Instagram is just Tyler Driever 33T. They can also get a hold of us on there as well. I'm always on there. I may not post a lot. It may seem outdated, and I may be bad at keeping updates on Instagram, but I am active.
Sure. You do inhabit the gram.
Yeah.
Well, and as far as sponsors you guys have lined up this year, what do you've got on the car that will be sported this season so far?
So we got Larson Miller Medical Waste Disposal. We got those guys. Those guys have been awesome to us. As well as Maxima Racing Oils. We've got them this year as well. Conrad Bischoff, also have them. Those guys also have been amazing to us. Great people. King Racing, I think, as well as HRP, I think they help us out. If I'm wrong, I apologize. And I think that's about it for this season. As far as our main sponsors, my grandpa also is helping us out a little bit. So that's awesome. Thank you, Grandpa. We really appreciate that. Yeah, I think that about does it for all our sponsors this year.
Okay. Well, hey, it's been a pleasure having you on, Tyler, and we wish the best of luck, and hopefully we'll be seeing you racing in the 20s to 30s range as far as number of races for 2023, not in the dozen or so range.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on here, and yeah, I'm hoping for the same. Hopefully we can get a couple more races than we're expecting.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to this latest episode of Getting Up to Speed with me, Ben Dethridge. We hope you enjoyed this program. We hope also that you hit the subscribe button and the like button, as that really helps things out, spreads things out. Be sure and share as well on social media so that more people can listen to these great interviews and from these great drivers. Getting Up to Speed is a production of Highside Racing Promotions. For more information, you can check it all out on Facebook at Highside Promotions.